right, guys, I don't know how much weirder it can get. Stock markets are crashing. Kamala's flying commercial and getting attacked or accosted in the airport. Um, things are changing. So, our friend I am for AM has a few ideas I want to share with you guys, and I want to get your feedback. So, give me a comment, let me know your thoughts, and join us on Den.social in the mighty lair. You might earn a lot. Welcome, welcome. I am for I am. Boy,
Hi,
did
Lisa.
you pick a hot topic today.
Well, I got my $5 coffee here, so I got to take a sip before I can even talk about taxes.
Yeah, make sure you get it while it's hot, for sure. For
Oh,
sure.
that's good.
Um,
Feels
this
like
was
coffee in the evening.
I can't do coffee in the evening. It gets me too amped up. But I also put like chaga in my coffee and all that. This morning I had a cup of coffee and then I looked at the markets and my anxiety went through the roof.
Yep.
And my excitement too, like it's happening. Okay, this thing's breaking apart. We've known it's not sustainable, and you're finally starting to see these markets break. And it's going to be a painful lesson for a lot of people, but hopefully we all get through this together by, having calm heads and yes, deep
Yes.
breaths. Um,
Well, having said all that with the market crashing and everything else and World War III on maybe happening and looking out our window, and is it a flash of lightning or is it the big flash? It's things like that just kind of make you think, well, I'm alive. It's
for
okay.
today, and you know what? And when I'm not, I won't be. That's okay too. Like, I don't know. It's an exciting time to be alive.
It is. All
And go
these things
through
that
all
are happening around us, and
yeah,
they said this year would be crazy, and it's not disappointed. That's for sure.
that is for sure. I saw Kamala in the airport getting accosted by this young woman telling her, what a terrible person she was, whatever. And I'm like, since when does the vice president of the United States fly commercial and walk through a airport? And that reminded me of when they had those pictures of Hillary and Bill on the plane, maybe things are changing. And
Maybe
then
the government didn't pay their fuel bill for their government plane.
maybe so. Also, this when you told me the topic and I went and read it on the mighty layer on Den.social, Den.social, everybody, please go join. It just takes an email. You can make up a new email address. It's just for like tech support, but there's no KYC, anything. And you can join the mighty layer and be part of the community chat in the comments. And then if you chat in the comments, we will show it on the show and you can be part of the show. So great way to engage. But it's really funny because I was just sending a couple days ago, I had sent my kiddos, we have like a Davis family chat. And I sent all the kiddos this article that said starting September 1st, Oklahoma has new car tags. And it doesn't look like they have the stickers for renewal. And it's like, you can either go in when your car renews and pay $4, or you can go right now and get one early for $9, which none of that makes sense to me. But then I also was watching some conversations in my community, my local community, and they were saying, hey, why are they still charging grocery tax? I thought that was supposed to change in August. And they're like, end of August. So September 1st is a quarter. And typically it's the end of the fiscal year. I don't know if that's for the government or who that's for.
Yeah, usually governments are,
Okay.
September is
September 1st, end of fiscal year. So, or last day of August, whatever. And so that is very prescient telling. I don't know what word to use for these things changing. And they are also doing away with all state and federal tax on grocery. You only have like your local, your city tax on grocery. You
Sales
won't
tax,
have any
local.
state
Mhm.
or federal tax on your grocery purchases or transactions. So then this came out then today, and you did this article. I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on all of this.
Yeah. So it's I'd actually did this exercise before, Lisa, and posted it in Den a long time ago. Um, and it occurred to me that, you know, of course, this is not April, so this, we're going to talk about taxes here, and we're going to go through a little simple exercise. People hate taxes. They hate, some people look forward to, oh, I'm getting my money back. I'm getting money back. Well, maybe that's because you overpaid during the year.
That's right. And
From
they
a
made
federal
interest on
tax
your money.
perspective, right? And they don't pay interest if you've overpaid. But others, it's just so complicated. We have tax attorneys, we have tax accountants, and that's their specialty, and that's all they do. And the tax code, if you stacked it on books, it's to the ceiling. It's ridiculous, and it's difficult to understand. And then there's a tax for, sales tax, like you talked about, sales tax on food, but not this food, but this item, yes, and not that item. And then there's car tags, that's a tax. There's all kinds of different types of income tax, and then there's excise tax, like alcohol tax, and tax on tobacco, and tax on firearms and ammo, and it goes on and on and on, and it's so complicated. It's a mess. It's like, gotta figure this out, right?
Yes.
So let's do this. I would like to do a screen share again, like we did last week.
Yeah, we can do that.
I should have got that all ready for us. Here we go.
You're good.
Pick which one it is. I don't know which one it is.
You'll find it. I'm not worried. The Interesting Warrior says California only pays tax on prepared food.
Prepared food.
So you're paying a tax on the service, which in Oklahoma, you don't pay any taxes on services.
Right.
It's all over the place.
I have two monitors, so it always makes it difficult because I always pick the wrong one. There we go. Here we go. Now I got it.
Got it.
I'll pull it in a little closer for us. So I said, there's got to be an easier way for this taxes. It's too complicated. And, we pay someone to do our taxes, or we got to buy the latest software to fill out our taxes and this kind of thing. It's got to be a better way. So I started thinking about, well, hey, all of us that have crypto, we're used to transaction fees. Like Litecoin's got a fee, and Bitcoin Cash has got a fee, and Bitcoin's got a fee, and of course there's different fees for the different blockchains. But why not just make it a transaction fee? That would be so simple, right? So if I went to buy my $5 coffee, what if there was kind of like a sales tax, and there was just a sales tax that would added to each transaction, and that was the idea behind it. It'd be so simple, right?
And in fact, doesn't MasterCard and all that now? So it used to be that you bought things, and the merchant would accept or receive the fee for transacting over credit cards. Now merchants, because things are so crazy and economy is so bad, the merchants are starting to push that fee back on the individuals, kind of like a transaction fee. Well, exactly like a transaction fee, depending on your method of payment.
Right. Yeah, depending on your method of payment, exactly. So anyway, there's got to be a better way. So let's go through this quick exercise. Okay. Let's abolish income taxes. Let's keep 100% of what we earn. Yes. Yay, let's do it. How about abolish inheritance tax? I hate the death tax. Get rid of it.
Terrible.
All these corporate taxes, payroll taxes, gone. Even the employer doesn't have to kick in payroll taxes because it's all going to be a transaction tax. Customs duties, environmental tax, gasoline tax, tobacco tax. It goes on and on. Shoot, even when we were just talking about Kamala, do you think she paid her airline ticket tax and her airport tax?
No. Most likely not.
restaurant tax, all these kinds of vehicle registration tax, like you're talking about. There's so many of them, so many business taxes and property taxes, all shapes and sizes. Shoot, you get a hotel room, you're paying a hotel tax.
Yes.
Our cell phone bill has got an FCC communication tax. So instead, let's do simple. Let's go simple. Just a transaction tax.
I like it.
Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, they all have it. We're used to this, right? So let's try to figure this out. How much would that, I want to go buy my $5 coffee. I got to take another sip. It's so good. Gets me amped up. So simplify the tax code. I am for I am's idea. Here we go. We keep 100% of our earnings. And when we go down in the morning to get our coffee and donuts on the way to work, we just pay a transaction tax. We keep it everything. But now here's the thing, though. We got a big debt. So I'm proposing that we, just like a 30-year loan on our mortgage, let's take our debt and slice it into 30 years worth of payments in our transaction tax. You with me? And so
but I could push back that I don't believe our taxes pay our debt.
Well,
I'll stay with you,
that, right? We don't know that. But I did the numbers. I did the calculations.
Okay, I would love to see that.
I'm no politician.
Let's pay off the debt.
Great answer.
Let's
You want the truth?
I want it. Yeah, tell me the truth, and I want to know how we're going to pay off this debt through our taxes.
So the debt payoff is going to be over 30 years, but we're going to freeze the size of government. Because we got a big tax, we got a big debt we got to pay off first before we grow the debt, our government. So let's just keep it as is. And we don't want our transaction fee for our $5 coffee or, stick of gum, or when we go to the grocery store and buy our groceries. Yeah. We don't want that fee to be too much. So let's calculate it. Well, all of this data is from 2023. Okay. So the operating cost for the U.S. federal government is $11.5 trillion. $33 trillion is total debt and $1 trillion in interest payments, plus or minus. Okay.
Those are interesting numbers.
Yeah. So the federal government total is $45.5 trillion. Now, remember the debt of $33 trillion, which I would almost argue is more, or whatever. We're going to divide that over 30 years.
Okay.
We're just talking about operation costs now for our federal government is $11.5 trillion. Now, I don't know how much is a trillion. I really don't. And I couldn't even tell you really how much is a billion. But our state, all the states and governments, well, that's $2.5 trillion in operating costs per year. Again, these 11.5 and 2.5 per year. And our local governments, school and the good old mayor's office and city council and the county government and all of that good stuff. That's 1.5 trillion across the U.S. All right. So that's a whopping 2.8 trillion just for local governments around the U.S. All right. Okay. Yours, mine, everybody's.
But everyone's.
But now let's get our total out to the total, please. All right. Remember, we have 15.5 trillion now we got to cover in operating costs to keep our governments as is, like it is today. We're not going to subtract it. We're not going to add to it. It's 15.5 trillion. All right. And we're going to cover that debt of 35 trillion over 30 years. All right. And we're going to pay the interest on it so the bondholders can get their interest. Now, this is what's crazy. Another big number. 472 billion transactions. That's how many you make, Lisa, and I make, and our friends and family and everyone in the U.S. as consumers. Now, I don't know. The missus and I, we probably had maybe 10 transactions this past weekend. Most of our weekend was staying at home, so whatever. We just add a transaction fee for each transaction.
Right.
To cover government. Now,
per transaction or per transaction amount. Okay.
Just like a Litecoin fee. Think of it like a Litecoin fee.
Okay. Yeah.
80 billion transactions that businesses do every year. Our government does 1.5 billion. And bank transfers, all that kind of thing, bank to bank and to us, like electronic payments, it's about 1 billion. So it's a total of 553 billion transactions is what's estimated that took place in the year 2023.
Wow.
It's a lot. But that's okay. We won a lot because if we have more transactions, then our transaction fee for government is going to be less, right?
Sounds good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We go to the grocery store 4 or 5 times a day. It's a good thing.
Solving problems, saving the world.
That's right. So they're big numbers. We got to take that 15.5 trillion divided by 553 billion transactions. Oh, but wait, remember, we got to add that debt. Remember, we're going to pay off the debt just like a home loan in 30 years, right? So we're going to add that. So how much is my cup of coffee, Lisa? My cup of coffee cost me $5. That's right. Right. It's good. I'm going to take another sip. Oh gosh, that's really good. It's like the perfect temperature. You know when you get coffee and it's a perfect temp? Mm-hmm. I should just pause the video.
It doesn't last long though.
I know. I should just pause the video and enjoy the coffee. But I won't. So our cup of coffee, $5 cup of coffee. Now we're all patriots here. So we're gonna pay down that debt over 30 years, and we're gonna cover the cost of government.
I don't know that paying down the debt is patriotic, but I'll go along with you.
Here we go. Our coffee is $5. Our current cost of government is $20.80
per transaction.
Per transaction.
Lord.
Our debt repayment. Remember, we're going to pay off all the debt. City, state, county, local, even our federal deficit. We're going to pay it off over 30 years. And that is $5.58. That's more than the coffee. So our total transaction cost as good patriots to cover the expense of government and to cover our debt for every transaction is $31.38. Who's with me?
Not me.
It's insane, right? It's an insane exercise.
That is insane.
I don't know, Lisa, I don't know how many times you and your husband maybe went to the, swipe the debit or credit card this weekend or today but can you imagine
but we did go grocery shopping and had to go to 3 different places to get all that we needed for the school week and all the things and whatever. So that's 3 transactions just for us.
Yeah, that's $26 to the government. Well, to all the governments and our debt. So that was $75 just in that one day, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? See, that's what's crazy. It's crazy. We don't feel it. And if everybody who's listening and watching this, if you're shocked, because I was, that the cost of government, if we did a transactional cost, like just a fee, remember, we keep 100% of our paychecks. There's no more deductions. There's no more withholding. Every tax that you can think of is gone. It's wiped off. It's forgotten. It's just becomes a transaction tax. That's what it is.
Also not then opportunities to have write-offs for business expenses.
Well, if you write it off, I got to pay the difference. That's what some would say. But you're right. You're right. There are no write-offs. But here's the point, Lisa. It doesn't matter if you get the write-off and I don't, or I get double write-offs and you only get one. It doesn't really matter. The real deal here is the cost of government is $20.80. Who it's good for you if you get the write-off and bad for me if I don't. But the real cost is still $20.80 for every transaction.
That's where our government is so swollen, gluttonous. I don't know, every disgusting word you can say for being too big.
But so it's just like a sales tax. Imagine if the sales tax was the government tax and the debt tax of $26, $27 almost, right? Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. So what's the solution?
Move.
No, we need to default on the debt.
All right, let me have another sip of coffee. Maybe I can figure out something.
Yeah, I think we can default on the debt and get rid of
that's $5. That's $5.
Okay, scale back big government.
Yeah.
That's the biggest cost is the current government costs.
The current government costs at all levels, the schools, the the fire and all the pensions and everything are total, and doesn't include any deficits. That means they no longer have any debt. They're not incurring any more debt. They're costing us $20 every time you swipe that credit card.
Every time you have a transaction.
That debit card.
That's your fair share.
That's right. And everyone's going to pay it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Every time you go online and buy something on, eBay or Amazon, got to pay that $26 transaction fee. Isn't that crazy, right?
It is crazy.
Well, obviously it's not going to work. And I'll tell you what. I'm going to take you really down a rabbit hole now. Okay. You ready?
I'm leaning in.
So let's just imagine that the will of the people spoke and the government listened. All right, I know that's fine. I better hear too much coffee for me.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Imagine this became the law of the land. We're going to do away with all taxes. Income taxes are gone. We keep what we earn, but we have to pay if we do a transaction. We're going to do this. Well, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to try to bundle all my utility costs and everything I possibly can into one transaction, one payment, right? Mm-hmm. So I only have to pay. I have fewer transactions a month, and so I'm going to try to bundle as much as I can all my payments into one payment. Maybe take a big loan and then have a loan payment that actually that loan is then paying off
the one transaction. Yeah.
So there'll be consolidation payment companies will sprout up everywhere. But government's going to say, hey, whoa, wait a minute. We can't have, we are counting on 553 billion transactions a year. You can't shrink the amount of transactions you have.
So then it's transactions per person.
Yeah, it's everybody in the U.S. Every transaction. Yeah. So everyone's got to pay it. So the government's going to say, whoa, wait a minute, because then next, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to whip out some Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and whatever else. I'm going to barter with my neighbors, and we're going to consolidate our purchasing, and I'm going to use alternative methods. And again, guess what's going to happen? We're going to shrink the amount of transactions, and then the fee's going to go up because the government, hey, they need that $20 every transaction fee, right? $21. So the government's going to say, no. Yeah. Nope. No Litecoin for you. No Bitcoin Cash for you. No Bitcoin. No cryptocurrencies. No. They're going to say, no bartering. You can't use pesos. You can't use any other currency. You can only use ours. As a matter of fact, damn it, you figured it out. This is what we're going to do to you. As a punishment, we're going to give you a CBDC, and now all your transactions are going to come through us, or you're going straight to prison. And that CBDC...
You must pay an XRP now that JP Morgan Chase is accepting it.
Yeah.
And it's all monitored, and you're all captured.
Yeah. I think my solution was move, right? No, just kidding.
You did say move, so this was one of when I showed you the license plate and the grocery tax thing changing and it going by city tax. So I literally, the next logical thing I did was I Googled which city has the lowest tax in Oklahoma. And I'm like, well, that's where everyone's going to be shopping. Everyone's going to Walmart in Bartlesville or I don't remember the name of the town. Anyway, because they had only 4.5% city tax. Everyone else was all the way up to 11.5% and 12%. And so it causes people to consider moving and or just moving their business and their business transactions to those places. So all of your points are super valid.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're moving to save money. You're literally voting with your feet and you're voting with your wallet is what you're doing. And that's why people have left, like say California in mass, and millions of people have left California because the taxation rate, which created a problem for the economy, which created fewer jobs and all of those things. And, people moved. Look at people up in the Northeast. They moved to Florida because then they don't have an income tax. Look at Las Vegas doesn't have an income tax, and it doesn't have the property taxes like say we do here in
Oh, I
Texas, and
didn't
that's a
know
whole
that.
nother thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
But and there's a big scandal that's about ready to break on that. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. That's going to
Ooh,
be it's a shock. My
okay.
brother and I were just talking about it yesterday. He found it, and ironically, I had also found it. It came up on both of our feeds. I guess we kind of follow the same people.
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, there's a saying: "Go where you're treated best."
Hmm.
Well, go where you're treated best also means go where you're taxed less.
Less.
It's
Hmm.
kind of the same thing, right? So there you go. I'm gonna point to my solution is always my default one, which is counter economics, and you mentioned it, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's voting with your wallet. It's using counter economics. Counter economics means I'm going to counter your punch with my punch, and
Yes.
I'm going to I'm going to do more barter, or I'm going to start using more Litecoin for my transactions, or whatever you might choose to use, and things like that. So I'm going to unplug a little bit more from the system, and by doing that, just like that, like I was saying, if everyone started reducing their transactions and there were fewer transactions, then the government wouldn't be able to cover that cost of $20.80. But isn't that crazy? Can you imagine going in for your morning coffee instead of paying $5,
No,
you're paying
30 bucks,
$41?
36 bucks. No, I'll get a new habit.
But here's the deal, Lisa. That's what we're paying.
Yeah,
That is our real cost right now, and that's
that's a
saying that
great
we're going
point.
to pay off our debt over 30 years. That's what we're paying right now. We just don't know it. We don't feel it. If you don't feel it, that means it's being hidden from you. That's why the tax code's so
Right.
complicated. That's why there's so many taxes. It's so you don't feel it. And you don't feel it, then they will keep taxing. Do
Well,
you
and
really think
inflation,
Congress is going to do
sorry,
anything about this? No.
no. And inflation is the most cruel tax
Yes.
because it hurts the least of these in the most essential needs, food,
Right.
housing, all of that. So
And if you didn't see last week's, I encourage everyone to watch last week's. It changed our social economic system. It changed our families.
yeah,
It's disrupted our families, and it's a generation uh, evil tax is really what it is, because it's generational. Sometimes we get older and we wonder why our children, well, I paid my way through college. Well, yeah, your college bill wasn't $76,000. You know what I mean? It's just a different world because of
nor
the
should
debt.
anyone's be $76,000. That's
Right.
knowledge
Right.
should not be charged like that.
Agreed. Agreed. So
Well,
anyway, I'm gonna
thank
go back
you.
to
This
my
is awesome.
$5 coffee. I like $5 coffee.
No,
And
you've told
I'm
me now it's 36. We just aren't acknowledging the other money that's being charged on the other $21.
Did I tell you this coffee is from Guatemala and it was really like 2 pesos?
Oh,
No,
well,
it wasn't.
I don't have a link for that, but you guys, thank you, William, for joining us. I love these talks. I really do. And I love that it helps break people's mind out from the old paradigm and being stuck in the rut and the Google vomit and thinking about things in a different way and really like being able to say, oh, wait. And whenever you wake up, you can choose then to say no and opt out and to vote with your dollars and use your energy where you want to. I'm loving the whole agorism thing. So keep it coming. And everyone, once again, join us on Den.social. You can join with just an email, start a brand new email, however you want to do it. Use your old email if you want, but join us on there and jump in the conversation. Um,
Tell
so
us what you want us to talk about.
yes, and
You
go
pick the
in
topic.
and when you see Williams IM's post, make comments and I will show them on the show. And then you're in the discussion as well. But you're welcome to suggest topics as well. So we'll do all those things. Thanks
Thank you so
again.
much.
All right.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for joining us in the chat. Give us a like and share the video. We really appreciate your support.